You wake up. Before the sun greets you, you've already reached for your phone. A scroll, a swipe, and there it is. Someone younger than you buying a house, someone fitter showing their perfect body, someone smiling wider with a perfect life. You blink and suddenly your morning feels smaller, less worthy, less yours. Why? Because in that moment, without saying a word, your mind whispers, "Look at them."
Your morning
Compared to
feels
you.
smaller.
Comparison. The silent killer of happiness. It doesn't scream. It doesn't strike.
Comparison seeping in.
It seeps quietly into your thoughts, like smoke filling a room. And the cruelest part? It disguises itself as motivation.
Look at them compared to you. Look at them
But leaves only
compared
emptiness.
to you.
It promises growth but steals joy. For centuries, thinkers from Buddha to Dostoevsky, from the Stoics to modern psychology, warned us, the moment you measure your worth by someone else's yardstick, you stop living your life and start chasing shadows. This video isn't about success. It isn't about ambition. It's about the invisible poison you drink every day without knowing it. Today, we'll uncover why comparison feels impossible to escape, and how, if you dare to break free, you'll discover something rare, the freedom to be enough.
This is a new chapter in our journey.
Step into any street, any school, any workplace, and you will feel it, the invisible pulse of measurement. Human beings, by design, are comparison-making creatures. Long before Instagram feeds and billboards, we survived by scanning the tribe. Who runs faster? Who gathers more food? Who attracts more allies? Comparison was once a tool for survival, but what once kept us alive now keeps us trapped. The world has grown louder, faster, more connected. Instead of a tribe of 50, we now compete with billions. Your phone is a window into endless mirrors, each one reflecting not who you are, but who you are not.
Not enough, not enough. Are you enough?
Social psychologists call it social comparison theory. At every moment, our minds unconsciously rank us against others. Status, beauty, intelligence, wealth. We don't choose this mechanism. It chooses us. It is automatic, relentless, and it whispers, "Are you enough?" And often, the answer is silence. The tragedy is this. We no longer compare ourselves to people we know. We compare ourselves to curated fragments of strangers, to highlight reels crafted for attention, to illusions, and yet we feel less, as if the illusion is more real than us. A student looks at her friend's grades and feels dumb, not knowing the friend cried all night to achieve them.
Happy anniversary, my love.
Happy anniversary, darling.
We need to look happy. Right.
I am happy. I just do not want to be here.
A man sees his neighbor's new car and feels small, not knowing the debt buried beneath the shine. A woman sees a stranger's perfect marriage on social media and feels unloved, not knowing the storms hidden behind the smile.
Envy and comparison are flames that burn the mind.
Comparison is a thief that steals context, leaving only the illusion of perfection and your heart measured against it.
Consider how swiftly all things vanish, those in existence and those yet to be born.
Buddha once said, "Envy and comparison are flames that burn the mind." The Stoics warned, "To judge yourself by another's fortune is to hand your peace to their hands." And Dostoevsky? He saw it as a sickness of the soul, humans inflicting wounds on themselves by staring too long at their neighbor's life. We believe we are chasing truth, but we are chasing ghosts. And the more we chase, the further we drift from the only place happiness can exist, here within our own skin. Think about it. You could be walking through the most beautiful day of your life. Sunlight pouring across your face, laughter with someone you love, but one glance, just one, at someone else's success, someone else's body, someone else's happiness. And suddenly your day feels dimmed. That is the power of comparison, not to change your life, but to change the way you see it. And if perception is reality, then comparison doesn't just steal happiness, it rewrites it. It tells you what you have is not enough. Who you are is not enough, until you start to believe it.
Look at them, why not you?
Comparison is so woven into the fabric of our minds that most of us don't even notice it happening. It's automatic, like breathing, like blinking, like a shadow that never leaves our side. But the question is why? Why are we wired to measure ourselves against others? To feel taller only if someone else is shorter, richer only if someone else is poorer, happier only if someone else seems sadder? To understand this, we have to dive into the psychology of comparison, a force as ancient as humanity itself. Long before cities and smartphones, comparison was survival. In the wild, knowing who was stronger, faster, or more resourceful could mean the difference between life and death. If another hunter in the tribe could throw a spear farther than you, you either learned from him or risked starvation. If someone was more dominant, you deferred, not because of weakness, but because it kept the tribe intact. Comparison was nature's way of ranking, of creating order in the chaos of survival. But here's the catch. That survival tool never left us. It's still running in the background of our minds like an old piece of software that no one ever deleted. And today, it no longer measures spears and firewood. It measures likes, salaries, beauty, and success.
You'll never catch up. She's younger than you. He's further ahead. You will never catch up.
In modern psychology, this process is called social comparison theory, introduced by Leon Festinger in the 1950s. Festinger proposed that humans have an innate drive to evaluate themselves. And when no objective yardstick exists, we turn to others as mirrors. Am I attractive? I look at how others are treated. Am I successful? I look at what car they drive, what house they live in. Am I lovable? I measure the affection others receive. It's rarely about what we actually are. It's about how we appear relative to someone else. Psychologists divide comparison into two directions. Upward comparison, when we look at someone above us. The celebrity, the entrepreneur, the friend with the perfect life. This can inspire us, but more often it breeds envy and self-loathing. Downward comparison, when we look at someone below us. The person who has less struggles more, or seems behind. This can give us temporary relief, but it's fragile, built on someone else's misfortune. Both directions keep us trapped. One poisons us with envy. The other ties our happiness to the suffering
Good job,
of others.
honey.
Yeah.
Not enough! Too late! Look at them!
Why does comparison feel so addictive? Because it's tied to our brain's reward system. Every time we win a comparison, we get a little dopamine hit. Someone compliments us, we get more likes, we buy something bigger or better than our neighbor. And for a moment, we feel good. But like any drug, the high doesn't last. Soon we need more. More likes, more praise, more victories in the silent competition we never signed up for. Comparison hijacks our brain chemistry, feeding us temporary highs followed by inevitable crashes. It's not just a thought, it's a chemical loop. Now add culture into the mix. We live in an age of performance culture. Schools rank us with grades, jobs rank us with titles, social media ranks us with numbers, likes, followers, engagement. From childhood, we're conditioned to see life as a ladder, with someone always above us, someone always below. Even when we achieve something great, our culture whispers, "Yes, but look at them. They've done more." The finish line keeps moving. There's always someone with a shinier trophy, a bigger audience, a more picture-perfect life. And so we run, not toward happiness, but toward exhaustion. Comparison doesn't just live outside. It burrows into us. Over time, the external voices of parents, teachers, bosses, and peers turn into an inner critic. That critic sits inside our head, constantly replaying the comparison game. You're behind. You should be doing more.
And I was just thinking,
Look at them. Why not you?
Are you
Carl
all
Jung
right?
once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." Comparison is one of those unconscious forces. We don't notice it, yet it drives how we dress, what we buy, who we chase, what we avoid. It whispers in our choices until, one day, we realize we're not living our life. We're living a life built out of measuring sticks that never belonged to us.
should I? What if?
So what's the cost of this hidden psychology? Anxiety, because there's always someone ahead. Depression, because we never feel enough. Resentment, because we can't celebrate others without secretly mourning ourselves. Isolation, because the more we compare, the less connected we feel. Comparison doesn't just kill happiness. It erodes relationships, identity, even the capacity to be present in the moment. And yet this is not your personal flaw. It's not a sign that you're weak or broken. It's universal. Every human wrestles with it, from ancient philosophers to modern influencers. The Buddha warned against envy as a fire of the mind. The Stoics said we should measure ourselves only against virtue, never against others. Dostoevsky showed us how envy can curdle into despair. Different cultures, different voices, but the same truth. Comparison is one of humanity's oldest prisons. And here's the tragedy. Most of us never escape this prison because we don't even realize the bars are there. We think comparison is just how things are. We think it's normal to scroll and sigh, to admire and ache, to smile and secretly sting. But there's another way, and in the next part, we'll explore it. How comparison can be dismantled, how joy can be reclaimed, and why breaking free is not only possible, but necessary for a meaningful life. Why is it that the very act of measuring ourselves against others feels so natural, yet leaves us feeling so hollow? Because comparison, does not only weigh what we have, it steals what we already possess. You see, happiness is not just pleasure, it is presence. It is the ability to rest in this moment without needing it to be anything else. But comparison is a thief of presence. It drags our gaze outward to someone else's highlight reel, someone else's timeline, someone else's imagined perfection. And in that instant, what we have, our life, our breath, our story, no longer feels enough. Comparison plants the seed of discontent. Imagine drinking pure water, but only after glancing at your neighbor's golden cup. Suddenly, the water in your hands tastes dull. Yet nothing has changed, only your mind's frame. This is the psychology of relative deprivation. Scientists find that we don't judge our wealth, beauty, or success in absolute terms, but against the backdrop of those around us. A millionaire can feel poor if surrounded by billionaires. A person with a loving partner can feel unloved if scrolling past endless staged romances online. And here's the paradox. Comparison not only breeds envy, it breeds shame. When you compare upward, you feel small. When you compare downward, you feel superior for a moment, but hollow the next. Either way, your peace collapses. Dostoevsky once wrote, "Man is unhappy because he doesn't know he's happy." Comparison blinds us to what is already ours. The laughter of a friend, the warmth of sunlight, the ordinary miracle of waking up alive, all invisible when the mind is consumed
like it
with
could
tallying
vanish at any
points in a
moment.
game that has no finish line.
It feels like it could vanish at any moment.
Think of happiness as a flame. Comparison is the wind that flickers it, at first just a tremor. But when constant, the flame bends, weakens, and can even go out. That's why, despite achievements, so many people still whisper, "I'm not enough." Even victories are poisoned. You get the job, the house, the recognition, but then the neighbor achieves more. The ladder stretches higher. The finish line moves further away, and the mind says, "Once I reach the next milestone, then I'll be happy."
What if I'm not enough?
But happiness forever lives in next, never in now. Comparison is also subtle. It can disguise itself as ambition, as the push to grow. But there's a difference between inspiration and envy. Inspiration lifts you without diminishing the other. Envy corrodes you while inflating the other. At its darkest, comparison builds cages. It stops people from expressing who they are because they fear they'll never measure up. A painter abandons their brush because their art doesn't look like the... A writer stops mid-sentence because their words don't sound like Dostoevsky's. The very voice that could have healed someone goes unheard because comparison suffocated it. And this is how happiness dies quietly, not by catastrophe, but by constant measuring. Not by storms, but by silent erosion. Not by lack, but by endless better.
True joy is freedom, and it begins with noticing what's already here.
True joy is found
True
not in
joy
being
is
ahead,
freedom.
but in being free.
And it
And
begins
comparison
with
is the invisible
noticing
chain
what's
around that
already
freedom.
here.
So the question becomes, how do we
True
break the
joy
chain?
is
How do we
freedom.
return to ourselves,
And
to
it
what is
begins
already
with
enough?
noticing
That's where
what's
we'll turn in the next
already
part,
here.
the way out.
What does success mean for me?
Breaking free begins with a shift in perspective. It begins when we stop
What
letting the
does
world
success
set the
mean for
rules
me?
for our worth and start measuring success by the standards of our own hearts. For most of us, success has been defined externally. Likes, awards, paychecks, promotions. They are all mirrors held up by society, reflecting what others value. But external validation is fleeting. It is a mirage, always moving, always out of reach. And when we build our happiness on someone else's measure, we become architects of our own dissatisfaction. The antidote is internal validation, to compete only with ourselves, to set benchmarks for growth that exist not in the headlines of social media, but in the quiet moments of reflection and effort. Here, we find the power to move forward without the heavy burden of envy or shame. Progress becomes personal. Victory is measured in resilience, curiosity, and the courage to stay true to our own path. The Stoics understood this centuries ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't compare, compete only with yourself." The idea is simple, yet revolutionary. Happiness is not found in surpassing others, but in surpassing your own yesterday. Each small step, each act of discipline, each moment of self-awareness becomes a victory. Not because the world applauds it, but because you know it matters to you. And there are practical ways to nurture this inner compass. Mindfulness anchors us in the present, reminding us that life is happening now, not in someone else's story. Gratitude opens our eyes to the richness of what is already ours. The laughter of a friend, the warmth of sunlight, the ordinary miracle of breathing. Journaling becomes a dialogue with the self, a way to track growth, confront fears, and release comparisons. And digital detoxes, though radical in our hyper-connected age, let us reclaim time, silence the endless highlight reels, and listen to the voice that is truly ours. Spiritual traditions, too, point to the same truth. The Buddha taught that desire and comparison are siblings. When we crave what others have, we feed the same restless hunger that clouds our contentment. To untangle this knot is to understand that joy cannot be inherited or observed. It must be cultivated from within. Desire need not vanish entirely, but when it ceases to be a measuring stick against others, it becomes a gentle guide, pointing toward growth rather than envy. Breaking free is not instantaneous. Old habits of comparison die slowly, often unnoticed, eroding our peace in subtle ways. Yet with consistent practice, the invisible chains loosen. You begin to notice your own milestones, no matter how small. You start to appreciate your own rhythm. You stop asking, "Am I enough?" and simply say, "I am." And here is the paradox. The day we stop measuring, we start living. It is not the grand achievements that awaken this freedom, but the quiet choice to exist fully in your own life. When you relinquish the scoreboard imposed by the outside world, even ordinary moments shimmer with extraordinary significance. A walk in the park, a shared meal, the scent of rain. These are no longer background noise, but the substance of life itself. Breaking free is, in essence, reclaiming the flame that comparison sought to snuff out. It is choosing presence over performance, depth over display, self-awareness over societal applause. It is realizing that the truest victory is the peace that comes from knowing your worth is not borrowed, not contingent, not comparative, but innately yours. So take a moment, breathe, and look inward. Let each step forward be a quiet affirmation. You are enough, not because of what you have, but because of who you are becoming. And in that space, free from the weight of others' measures, you begin to understand the profound simplicity of life. Happiness was never somewhere else, it was always here, waiting for you to notice.
The day you stop
measuring, you start living.
You start living.